I never believed that I would birth children because I knew when I was 12 that I was called to adopt. So we actually had planned to adopt.
Our very first date over McDonald's French fries, we talked about adoption.
So we would go on vacation and I would read adoption books. Or I started following adoption blogs of people who were in process, and I would like show your dad and he would see. It's funny, you would recognize people from blogs because you were little and you would see me like looking at the computer and stuff, and you began to follow their stories too, even as a child, and so you would recognize them and know who they were. I would say that was one of the most frustrating times in our marriage, to know that we both wanted the same thing but at different times. And so having to reconcile with like, I know that this is what we are supposed to do. This is what we as a couple, as a family have, committed to, and not understanding, well, why not now? Why not now? And then when he was finally ready, then it became, not just adopting one, but let's adopt siblings.
So, I mean, there's a ton, and there's more than you could ever plan for. You can't know the timing, and you can't know. We were told not to adopt out of birth order.
Right, that's a big no-no. Well, tell God your plans and watch what he does. And so when we got our referral, obviously Jeremiah was older than you and Rachel younger. And so we did the no-no twice by artificially twinning, by the fact that you and Jeremiah share a birthday within a calendar year and you and Rachel share a birthday within a calendar year, like Irish twins. Yeah. Well, we did it to you twice, so you're welcome. You're supposed to be...
Don't do it once, we did it twice.
I remember the transition home that we were in while we were waiting for the adoption to come through. I remember the orphanage pretty vividly, what it looked like. The orphanage was like, say like a two-story thing. It had like a wraparound porch and stairs and stuff. It was mostly gray and white, what I remember. I remember like a lot of kids. I don't really remember seeing that much like supervision around. So it's just like do whatever you want.
You describe the moment, for both of you. Can you describe the first moment you saw Jeremiah and Rachel for the first time?
When you see and hold who your heart's already loved. Like, I couldn't tell you their favorite ice cream. I couldn't tell you their favorite toy. I couldn't tell you those kind of details. But my heart had already loved them.
I mean, as a dad, getting to play ball, like kick a ball around the yard of this area they were in, the orphanage they were at with Jeremiah. And Rachel could barely walk at the time. I mean, she was... a toddler at best, but barely above an infant, like in her development. And I'll never forget that she allowed me to carry her around the schoolyard, the complex for a while. That didn't happen again for quite some time after that, but that first day she took to me, maybe just because she didn't want to walk and she thought, here's my pack mule. But it was good.
You can see in our pictures the process of them warming up to us.
I could say it was definitely a surprise because like I'd never seen white people before, and like Dad was like 6'5", and like my dad was tall, but like I'd never seen someone that tall, and it was definitely a surprise, and like I don't know, I guess it like opened my mind to like there's other people in this world. Not everyone looks like me.
One of my favorite memories would be we would FaceTime with you Actually, it wasn't FaceTime back then. I don't even know what it was.
Skype.
Skype. Yes, that's exactly what it
Yeah.
was. It was Skype. We would Skype with you. So we would talk with you, and it wasn't always the best like connection and that kind of thing. So it was very short, but they immediately recognized who you were because they had seen pictures. And so then anytime there was something new to them, like if it was just literally putting on a new outfit the next day or shoes, or if they had a piece of candy, they would run to the computer like they were trying to show you. They thought you were in the computer. And then we had like a little picture of you and Jeremiah, took it to like one of the guards at the transition home and showed him and was like telling him that this is my brother. And so those were kind of cool connections.
They both knew who you were. They knew what an airplane was in English, and that was their connection to coming home in America. And so, yeah, they were very excited about having a brother.
And Jeremiah referred to me as the airplane mommy for a little while until it was like a forever mommy. Like,
Yeah, he knew the word airplane before we ever went there and met him. So like he had been prepared, and that was very helpful, and made the transition a lot smoother. And so it was I think it was very edifying for everybody and encouraging for us, because we had a lot of people rooting for us and praying for us and standing
showed up
alongside
at the
us.
airport.
Yeah,
did
a lot
big
of people at the
welcome
airport
home.
from the church, and we were
Huge
coming off the
shower.
escalator, and it was like, whoa, look at all the people here waiting for us. So it was very cool, and probably scared Jeremiah and Rachel to death, but something that we have pictures and memories of that made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a special memory. Like, he had his little picture of you, and we thought he was going to be super withdrawn because he walked away from the crowd of people and sat down on the ground, and you went over with him like you were trying to give him a toy or something that someone had brought. And he unzips his backpack, which that held all of his worldly goods. They loved their little backpacks because it had everything that was theirs. And he pulled out the picture of you. So we have a picture of him showing, like, I know who you are. Like, I belong to you and you belong to me. We go together. So that was, like, you all bonded. And really, you were the Three Musketeers. It was like triplets. Everything you love about the age of 3, 4, 5, it was like, ooh, you've got it in triplicate. Everything that drives you nuts about that, why? You had that times 3. At the time, Dad was preaching, I was still teaching, and so just trying to get community, because we are in a predominantly white area, rural, and so our family, we knew going into it, would be conspicuous. We would stick out. We're going to look different than the typical family in our area by having transracial adoption, and having people say, you're adopting from Africa, from Ethiopia, they're going to be black. Yeah, they are. We had somebody at a church once say, ooh, can you say something African to us? Well, like, not realizing language and understanding that kind of thing.
A few people would ask, like, how much you pay for those kids?
Yes, we did hear that a few times, and not nearly what they're worth. So, just kind of already thinking through some of those and having some pat answers. Rachel, especially, people want to touch her hair. So that's, kind of giving her autonomy, like, this is mine, this is my space, that kind of thing.
I think it's really important for me because obviously, one, knowing where you're from helps you know who you are and like where you have been, and it can be like a sign to where you can go. Whenever it's slander or people like you're not like other black people, like, it doesn't really bother me because I know who I am, I know what my culture is and how we've been held back, but that's not a sign of who we are. It's just a sign of where we can go. But like, it also doesn't subtract from who I am as a black person. It doesn't make me less black because I'm smart, because I guess I don't want to project, but say well spoken. That doesn't take away from the culture, my heritage. It's just another part of me. It does anger me that I don't want to say they have the nerve, but that people think they have, or they get to be the judge of my blackness. It doesn't really have an effect on me, I would say. It just shows what little they know about what being black is. That in itself is a form of oppression.
What would you say to families considering adoption for themselves in the future?
If you're called to do it, if you feel led to do it, if you feel a desire to do it, and know there's a need, then do it, and God will make a way.
But realize that He's God and you are not. You're not some white savior coming to swoop in. And I say that adoption is where the beautiful and the broken collide. It's an amazing mess. You're going to get your hands dirty. It's going to be messy, and there's going to be lots of emotions and feelings, and you're going to process it at every age and stage of life.
We've had a lot of people say to us over the years, and still continue to, people, sharing the story with, well, you've been such a blessing to those children. That's not how it works. We've been blessed by all of our children. And adoption is no less of a blessing. Like, we received more than we ever gave.